Hello! So, today I took my reading project out to our sleeping house. It's sort of like you might see, sort of a tent. Okay. I'm gonna show you a little bit. Get there. This is actually, this is a gamme. Actually, it's a modern gamme. A gamme is a Sami sort of earth dwelling that is in shape a little bit like a lavo, which in turn is a little bit like a teepee that the Sami used. And this is actually a tent. It's a little bit like a yurt, like the Mongolian, little bit like a gamme, and little bit like a teepee, a modern tent version of these things. So, very nice place. As you might hear, my voice is not good. It's it's what happens usually at this time of year. I lose my voice. So today I'm just gonna read as much as I can actually manage without starting to lose my voice or cough. So just a moment. So last time I finished off the chapter 2, which was a very long chapter, and this one is slightly shorter. This is chapter 3, and it's about, let's see. Yeah, it's chapter 3, The Maiden with the Mead. Initiation and consecration through ritual drinking and sacred marriage. So I'm going to read as I said, as far as I can manage with my voice today. Sounding a bit like a crow, but crows are nice. I like them. So here I go. And maybe I'll put on, sorry, a little bit of jacket. I should have been able to, do this in a more attractive way or something, but can't be bothered. So, okay, introduction, a path of initiation. And there is a quote from the Rig Veda. I have tasted the sweet drink of life. All the gods and mortals seek it together, calling it Madhu, honeymead. The glorious drops that I have drunk have set me free in wide space. The drop that we have drunk has entered our hearts, an immortal inside mortals. Rig Veda 8:48. 5,000-year-old poems here from India, and it's relevant to our thing, even so. A recurrent motif of the Edda poems is the woman who serves mead to a god or to a hero. An in-depth study of every different setting in which this motive plays a role shows striking similarities in structure. In my 2004 thesis, I explored some of these stories, uncovering the fact that their structure follows a perfectly detailed and credible path of initiation where the god or hero, has to request from the mead woman a vision using techniques of ecstasy before entering the underworld. There he would encounter obstacles in the form of dangerous entities, usually representing fear, hatred, greed, and oblivion, or a guardian who challenges him so that he must prove his knowledge, his eloquence, and his wisdom. When he succeeds, he reaches a bright golden realm of resurrection, where he is restored and transformed through the consecration of the mead and the embrace of the woman who serves it. The focus on the underlying ritual structure throughout several different Edda poems, I have found 5 stages of ritual, beginning with a vision quest, followed by a vision. This in turn leads to the descent into the underworld, followed by trials, leading eventually to the consecration. The consecration occurs at the moment of mead serving and sacred marriage, or simply the loving embrace of the mead woman. Beyond these 5 stages, the hero or god, representing the role of the initiate, returns to the world worthy of a new role in society. He becomes a sage, a sorcerer, a god, or a king. So there are 5 stages here that I have listed up in this book. 1, the vision quest. 2, the vision. 3, the descent. 4, trial. And 5, consecration. Let us examine the stages of initiation as they appear in the Edda poems that I have used as examples in this book. We begin with the first stage of ritual, the vision quest, in which the initiate applies so-called techniques of ecstasy. In the poem Håvamål, Odin lets himself be hanged for 9 nights. He fasts, he abstains from food and drink, he's even pierced by spears. All this seems to reflect a typical Norse human sacrifice, which we know happened in pagan times, and which the saga strongly suggests was the fate of kings who failed to inspire fertility in the land. However, the ritual can also reflect a so-called mock sacrifice, where the intention is not to actually kill the victim, but to induce a state of altered perception. Such severe trials are not unknown to shamanistic initiation rituals, to yogis or ascetics, as a means of reaching communication with the other world or to have a near-death experience. The number of nights correspond with the number of nights it takes to reach Hel. According to the Snorri's story of Hermod's journey to save Baldur, it takes 9 nights to reach the heart of Hel, the heart of the underworld. It also corresponds with the number of cosmic worlds in which Hel, death, is said to rule. She rules 9 worlds. Perhaps it means that she rules 9 dimensions, 9 of the many dimensions that are mortal. The 9 nights probably indicate a journey through all 9 worlds, as it is suggested in the Edda poem Vafthrudnismål, stanza 43. Frå jottna runum och allra goda, ek kan säga satt, tvi att värn hefi ek heim omkommit. 9 kom ek heima, för ni fyll hel nedan, hinig döja or hellig och haler. About the runes of the giants and of all the gods, I can truly speak, for I have been within every world. To 9 worlds I came beneath the misty Hel, where the dead come from Hel's halls. The number 9 also corresponds with the number of universes that existed before the present one, and the 9 sorceresses who gave birth to it. It is also the usual number in which giantesses and Valkyriur appear, and is repeated regularly like a formula throughout. In the case of the Håvamål and Odin's trials, the result of the hanging for 9 days is that he peers down and sees the runes that the Norns have carved into the roots of the world tree, the runes of fate. This is his vision. Through his descent, he is able to reach them and drink them like mead and bring the knowledge of them into all the worlds, before he himself comes among the binding powers, that is, among the gods. On the way, he has to face terrible giant forces, the trial, and he needs the embrace, the mead and the guidance of the mead woman, the consecration, in order to resurrect from the underworld. The vision quest is particularly elaborated in the story of Odin's hanging, but is also recognizable in other stories. In the poem Skirnismál, Freyr induces his vision by sitting in the seat of Odin, the seat of spirit. The seat is called Hlidskjalf, which I roughly translate as the seat of the portal. A portal because a hlid means an open gap through which one can watch, like a peeping hole or a portal into other worlds. And it's a sitting on a skjalf, a peak or a shelf, or a protruding rock above a cave. So this seat of portals, this shelf of portals, enables the seated one to gain vision into all the worlds. Again, we see the theme of conscious presence in several worlds. The vision quest seems to be a little less dramatic in this one, involving a meditation in a power spot, something which is also well known from shamanistic, ascetic, and yogic traditions. Freyr then has his vision, the maiden with arms that illuminate the world. The descent is undertaken by Freyr's servant, Skirnir, who, like Odin, has to contend with a giant guardian, and then he has to contend with the maiden herself, who appears rather like a hostile giantess. So this is the trial where eloquence and a quick mind is his way out of trouble. The consecration is promised, although not culminated, since Freyr has to survive the 9 nights before he can earn the soft embrace of the mead woman with the shining arms. This can only happen in the mysterious, breezeless grove of Barri. Barri referring to a pine needle or a conifer. It's raining. Where was I? The fact that this grove is breezeless, that is windless, is highly significant since wind and breeze is a metaphor for death in Old Norse poetry. As such, the theme of immortality is introduced. In the poem Hyndluljod, the initiate, Ottar, which sort of means fair warrior, resorts to blod, that is to blood sacrifice, for his vision quest. The sacrifice of an animal, which appears to be a boar, leads to the vision of the altar turning into crystal, while the goddess Freya reveals herself in this vision, and she transforms Ottar into the very sacrifice that he has just made. The descent follows as Freya rides Ottar in the shape of a boar down to the darkness of darkness itself. Raukr, raukra. the darkness of darkness. The trial is the encounter with the scary, wolf-riding giantess of the rock caves and how to extract her knowledge without getting killed in the process. Whereas Odin's purpose with his trials seems to be the knowledge about the runes of fate, and whereas Frey's purpose is to reach union with the shining maiden, the express intent of Ottar's initiation journey is to reach Valhöll, a realm of the afterlife. I know you're used to saying Valhalla, and that's okay, but it's in Old Norse it was Valhöll. All of these journeys involved the ritual drinking of precious mead served by a giantess within the underworld as their culminating point, the consecration. Now, in the stories of Jörvardur and the two Helgis, we see the same pattern repeat itself. The initiates, or their accomplices, perform a number of acts designed to induce visions of bright, golden maidens from other dimensions, mainly from dimensions that appear to belong to death and the afterlife, of course. Sleeping by a river or on the top of a sacred mountain, dozing off within a sacred grove, or sitting in silence upon a burial mound, are all practices that are described in the Edda poems as vision quests, allowing us to conclude that deep all-night meditation in power spots, that is, in a sacred space, thought to be particularly powerful in a magical, mysterious and religious way. Well, this was a known practice during the Viking Age. These practices all lead to the vision, which is usually in a land sometimes known as Svavaland, like the land of sleep, or Sefafjöll, the mountain of souls, in which these glorious maidens are to be found. This time, the maiden appears not as a giantess but as a Valkyria, and she reincarnates between the lives of various heroes. One of the last reincarnations of the Valkyria happens in the story of Sigurdur, the Serpent Slayer, which takes place across several Edda poems. This story is one of the most detailed in its description of an initiation journey. In this chapter, I will focus on the Mead woman herself, her realm, and on the meaning of the mead that she serves. Okay, I'm really sorry, but you might hear it that my voice isn't working and I just can't read for an hour or even half an hour. I can feel that now, so I gave it a try. I'm gonna give you this little short introduction video as a comfort, and I'm really sorry. I will, as soon as my voice gets better, I'm gonna give you a good read. Yeah, thank you for watching today. I'm sorry it went really short. Sorry that my voice sounded like a crow. I can't really do anything about it. But I hope you have a nice week, and I will do this as soon as my voice gets better. I'm gonna film at least 1 or 2 chapters into chapter 3, because there are sub chapters, as you have noticed. So, okay, bye for today.